be shown again by another national station. So we'll be doing that. But the other thing we want to do from next year is actually take it out to the communities, the people who spoke to us and other areas which are tense, and just show it and have conversations between people and see how we can begin addressing the questions about the linkage between us as Kenyans and the leadership we have. Because the bottom line for Kenya is always the leadership. It's the leadership that is leading us astray. You know, as we say, they are comfortable. The leaders are comfortable now. They fought. Now they are talking. They are friends. They have made agreements in terms of what we call in Kenya eating, and every side is eating, and they're happy. But the people are languishing. They are not getting support. You know, the survivors who are burned, who lost property, are struggling still. You know, and yet we are spending money on the luxuries around the leadership. So there's a lot of questions we need to start challenging Kenyans to start speaking up themselves, as they do in the film, but now in a more active way. So this film will be used in different ways.
Talking about speaking up, I will also invite the audience, and I'm sure there will be a lot of questions asked here tonight. So please start thinking already now, and I will, as time goes by, I will invite you to ask questions as well. We can see Luis Moreno Ocampo, the prosecutor of ICC, said that, well, when the time is appropriate, we will take the decision. And apparently he made the decision in the beginning of this month, saying that he will order the judges in ICC to initiate investigations into what happened in Kenya 2 years ago, naming it as crimes against humanity. What has the reactions been after his visit in Kenya when he uttered these words?
Again, like everything else, in Kenya there are two sides. The general population is very much in support of Ocampo and the ICC intervening and taking up the cases. The political class, on the other hand, is very much opposed. And as he says, it's because they know what they have done. So there's a sense where there has been in the press as well attempt to try and dirtify Ocampo or try and say it's not going to work. But generally speaking, I think they've done now 3 or 4 polls since October 2008, and a consistent 68% public support for the ICC taking up the cases. Now, the reason again is that because we don't trust our local situation, we don't trust our judges, we don't trust our police. I mean, you saw the police there. They cannot investigate, even if you paid them. They just simply can't do it, and so we don't have a police force, to be honest. So there's a sense where people feel the only way we'll deal with the question of impunity in Kenya is if at least the big fish are taken out and are charged and tried outside of the country. Now, hopefully that will be a lesson. I've been in a discussion with some people about whether that's what Kenya needs, whether Kenyans are emphasizing too much the legal issues, the legality issues and law, and rather than dealing with the political issues that divide us. But you know, in Kenya, impunity is very much a political problem, in the sense that it's those people in power, those people who are powerful, who have impunity. They can kill and they can steal. And I can tell you for a fact that whoever is arrested by Ocampo, you can bet they have also been involved in corruption. You can bet. The linkages are always there. The Kenyan political elite is so dirty on both sides that they just need to be swept out.
I mean, we could have a separate discussion only on the subject of what the Minister of Justice was saying in the movie. But he was actually saying that one of the things that, well, there's ICC is a quick fix. We need to start within the country, etc. And I mean, what's stopping him in the first place? But never mind. But the police force, I mean, that is a big problem. You have a lot of the culprits among the policemen. The same people are about to investigate. I mean, how can you, if the ICC would enter the process, I mean, how would you then foresee the investigations to be carried out in a proper way?
Well, you know, the ICC has its own investigators. They don't rely on the police investigators of any nation, so they will do their own investigations. Now, in Kenya, we often emphasize the list, the so-called working list, the envelope, we call it. But if you saw the clip there, the envelope is only one part. The bigger part was 6, 7 boxes full of evidence that was given to Ocampo. And that's the evidence that's leading the charge and leading the process of investigation. So they will investigate. I think they are competent investigators. I think all of us don't, and I think not many of us feel nervous about the investigation part. I think the only part we worry, at least I worry, is whether there will be enough balance in the way that investigation is conducted. And I say that because the atrocities in Kenya were very much a political issue. But again, the benefit, if you wish, is that every side, you can find culprits and perpetrators on both sides. So it's important that when the actual arrests are done, then we have people from both sides, then plus the state, in terms of the police, being indicted. And that way we find that, I think there'll be a solution for us to move forward in the country.
The subtitle of the film, The Deadly Game of Wait and See. I mean, if the decision on the investigations are being initiated in December, I guess the game of wait and see will have an end. But what will happen? I mean, you have on the one hand the possibility of, let's say, death squads going after the witnesses. Perhaps that is also the case even today. You have the Prime Minister and the President who also need to take some action to protect themselves. I mean, what can we foresee in the near future, basing that on a decision in December?
Well, I think the biggest fear for us is the witnesses, to be honest. And that's the part that we worry the most. The witnesses who are there, who have evidence, and finding ways to protect them really is the hardest part. And that's where I think most people in civil society are spending their time. In fact, it's clear that about 60 people right now are under protection. Some in Kenya, a lot of them outside Kenya, but they're witnesses with real evidence about what happened. If we're able to keep them alive, and this is where we have to continually beg the support of the international community. If they're kept alive and going, then I think we'll have enough evidence. And I think then the wait and see attitude will stop. I mean, we basically are saying that if indictments happen, 4, 5, 6 people are arrested and taken to The Hague for trial, wherever their trials are held, you will see, I think, a beginning of change within the political class. That for the first time they will feel the fear. I mean, one of the things in Kenya is that our politicians don't fear, they don't care, because they get away with it. And so we have been seeing different language coming out of them as this whole process has happened. So when the first debates happened after Waki's report came out, there was a sense of, oh, bring ICC, bring ICC. But they were saying that, thinking that ICC would take 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years. And so they thought it wouldn't happen. And then when Ocampo got the list of the evidence, they said, oh, let's have Truth Commission now. And then now, but nobody's buying Truth Commission. So now they're saying, let's have local trials. Because they know they can control. And it was instructive that during the debates in Parliament around forming a special tribunal, a minister said that, look, we better have a local trial, a local tribunal, because at least this one we can control. And he was very explicit in that, and this is, but then, so there's a sense for many Kenyans that there's some people who we can't handle. They have got too much control, they will control too much. Let those 5, 6 people go out, and then we can deal with the rest later, in our own way. But at least the impetus in terms of accountability will have been started.
But I also presume that the ego of the big fish, let's say, has been strengthened also by the African Union position towards the ICC and the discussions about immunity for leaders, not least with regard